The city is like the hostess at a dinner party. During the day it puts on a front for its guests, the everyday folk, the school children, the commuters, the 9-to-5ers, the naive. But at night, the true chaos behind the scenes, the things that it doesn't want you to look at, are revealed for all to see. Because behind every fake smile at every party lies a grimace, a dark resentment that cannot be shown for the sake of the party.
Sorry, sir, this is strictly police business.
Detective Thomson?
Jack. Don't you guys know who this is? Jack Humphries. Let him through.
What have we got here, Peter?
Victim is female, early 20s. Looks like a stab wound, right in the back.
Any leads on her identity?
Victoria Adamson. Beautiful girl. Carries an ID card for Luciano's lounge. CCTV's got nothing, but she's a dancer given her attire.
You mean Luciano's Lounge, the nightclub?
I guess so. You know it?
I tried to forget it.
Luciano's was one of the seediest establishments I'd ever had the pleasure of frequenting, and was owned by Luciano Gambini, one of the seediest men I have had the pleasure of meeting. Not since the butterfly case had I been within its sweat-covered walls, and I had no intention of changing that anytime soon.
Any other leads?
Just one. She's wearing a ring.
She's married.
Yep. Now I reckon we head to Luciano's, get an address, and we have our killer.
So you think it's the husband?
In nearly all domestic cases it is.
And who's to say this is a domestic case?
So what do you think, Jack?
I thought he was being a fool, an inexperienced officer on his first case since passing his detective's exam, and acting like a boy in a sweet shop.
I think we should head to Luciano's, see if Mr. Gambini remembers me.
Who can forget you? You're Jack Humphries, the guy who solved the butterfly case. You're practically a celebrity.
Maybe amongst badgers.
Peter had heard all about my famous case, the case which had the law pinned down on the way to the butterfly pen, the one piece of evidence that led to a killer, the one piece of evidence that led to a death, the one piece of evidence I wanted to forget. I was no cop. Directing traffic and eating donuts had never had much appeal to me, but there was more than that. The rules, the restrictions, the endless red tape and form filling, all forms of control from a daunting phantom that was really in control of everything you did or didn't do. I had no time for people trying to exert that kind of power over me, corporations even less so.
So, what brings the famous Jack Humphries to my neck of the woods then?
Investigating a murder, same as you.
Thomson wanted to know why I'd stumbled into his territory. He smelled a case, and I knew it.
Someone must have hired you. I mean, that's your job, right?
It's my job not to share that kind of information.
You were a lot cagier, you know. I mean, from your work on the butterfly case, I've heard you've done your fair share of questioning and interrogating.
Would you prefer it if I was interrogating you, Detective?
I guess not.
So how long have you been a detective then?
It's not my job to share that kind of information, Jack.
He wasn't going to get any information from me. In his frustration, he had returned the favour. I couldn't blame him. Thomson had been through the ringer, years on the beat, helping old ladies cross roads and rapping teenagers on the knuckles before finally getting the opportunity to sit the detective's exam. That was one thing I could say for certain. Thomson had the patience that I never did. Luciano Gambini, the epitome of the term lounge lizard. Some things never change.
This is the place.
It's like this job just got a whole lot better. Luciano Gambini.
The one and only. Who's asking? Ah, Mr. Investigator. And I see you brought a pig. How cute.
That's Detective Thomson to you, Gambini.
Your dog likes to bark, Jack. Didn't you see the sign? No pets.
Well, I certainly haven't missed that razor-sharp wit of yours, Lucy.
That's Luciano. I haven't swapped genders just yet, Jack.
Gambini was one of those who would only respond to somebody who dealt out as much shit as he did. Niceties were not the way to get on his good side.
Girls, why don't you get Mr. Investigator a drink and entertain his little friend?
I'll be back, Gambini. You deal with him. I'll see what I can get out of these. So, ladies, where are we headed?
He won't be getting a lot, not on his salary.
Do you know a Victoria Adamson?
Nope. Never heard of her.
Really? Because I've got an ID card of yours with her name on it. Care to explain that?
There was something shady going on here. Gambini's body language more than showed that.
Is there something you wanted to tell me, Luciano?
Not in front of the wife, no.
Well, then maybe I should ask her myself. I'm sure she'd have plenty to tell me about Miss Adamson.
Okay. I do know her. She's a dancer. She works here.
Well, then it may surprise you to know that she's dead.
Really?
This evening, still wearing her outfit from working here.
Oh. I see. Okay, is there anything else you wanted to tell me, Mr. Investigator?
Why was he smiling? An employee lies dead in the street, and he smiles about it? Something didn't add up.
Yeah. A formal interview at your earliest convenience, please.
Oh, please. You must be desperate, Jack. You know as well as I do that formal interviews won't do shit for either of us.
Maybe so. All the same.
Exactly. All the same. That's what those badge-wearing pig dogs are. Like that runt you brought in here with you. You wanted my information, you're gonna have to earn it. I'm playing a poker game tomorrow night at the abandoned industrial plant. You'll turn up alone and without your dog. I'll give you the information you need.
Luciano was no phantom, but unfortunately, to get what I wanted from him, I was going to have to play his games by his rules.
Any ideas on a last known address?
Joseph! Can I clean this up? No. Use your hands. You want to brush, You have to earn it. And the same goes for you, Mr. Investigator. You want my information? You're gonna have to earn it.
Or maybe I could just ask Mrs. Gambini. I'm sure she'd be more than happy to provide me with that information. So what?
So what have we got?
I could ask you the same thing.
Have you always been this difficult to work with, Jack?
It's a question.
Fine. Fine. All the girls know her, but none of them know where she lives. You happy?
Well, maybe if you've been concentrating above the waist for a second, you might have got a bit further.
What's that supposed to be?
I've got an address.
Good. Great. And the interview?
I'm not your lackey, detective.
Oh, well, did you or didn't you?
No!
That's just great, Jack. Thanks a lot.
Hey, I don't see you with anything more than lipstick on your face and stains on your crotch, detective.
Fine. Let's go and look at that address you got. So if it's as good as your word, fine.
Peter had every right to be annoyed. Cops have restrictions. Cops have rules they have to follow. That's why he wanted me to press for the interview. I don't have restrictions. The only rules I have to follow are my own. That's why I don't trust cops.
This the place?
That's the one. Number 13.
Lucky for some, eh?
I guess so.
The lights are on. Let's see if anyone's home. No answer.
Well, there's a surprise.
So what now?
You're the detective here.
I guess we wait for the husband to come back. He probably hasn't finished hiding the evidence. In fact, he probably realised that the police had found the body before he had a chance to hide it.
If that's the case, do you really think he'd bother coming back here? He'd surely realise that they could get an address from the body. He could be 100 miles away from here by now.
Well, what do you suggest, Mr. Investigator? Or can you only tell your buddy Gambini that information?
Well, since you're clearly too petulant to do your job, I was going to go try the back door.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm the officer. I'll go round the back. Or else I could do you for trespassing. Remember that, Jack.
Give a man a shred of power and it goes to his head. In Peter's case, he didn't even have that, and yet it still went to his head.
We're in luck. It's open. Wow. Look at the mess. You're saying this isn't a domestic case, Mr. Investigator?
If this is a domestic case, then why was the victim wearing her outfit from work?
Hey, sometimes I don't change out of my work clothes when I get home.
It doesn't count if you don't own any other clothes, detective.
Speaking of which, what are you doing here, Jack? You know this is trespassing without a permit?
Thomson was a fool. He needed my help, and he knew it.
You're right. Good luck searching on your own, detective.
No, wait. Alright. Just help me look.
Look at this. Divorce papers.
So this is a domestic case.
I thought detectives were supposed to examine all the evidence before passing judgment.
That's why you're not the detective around here, Jack. What's that?
Looks like somebody is.
Hey! What are you doing in my house?
Sir, I'm Detective Thomson.
Get out of my house!
Get up here, you drunk fuck!
Mr. Adamson?
Go on then. Go on. Go on, do it! Pull the trigger, do it! Do it!
I'm not here to kill you, Hugh.
Wait, how do you know my name?
Husband to Victoria?
Vicky? Yeah, what do you know about her?
Apart from the fact you were getting a divorce.
You shut up about that!
Please! Hugh, just calm down, alright? This isn't easy for me to say. Your wife was found dead this evening.
Wait, you're sure?
I'm afraid so.
God. Oh, I knew it! I knew this is too late for her to be coming home.
I'm so sorry, Hugh.
No, you don't understand. I can't believe you would do this to me.
Is that a confession, Mr. Adamson?
No, you don't understand. She's been late for a while. She's been having an affair.
So you found out, you grew jealous, and you killed her?
No, I love her. I loved her, but the pain was too much, and she doesn't love me anymore. That's why we're getting a divorce. She loves him.
Who? Mr. Adamson, who was she having an affair with?
Her boss, the Italian guy, Luciano.
Luciano. I could hardly say it was surprising. A married woman trying to repel the advances of her own boss. A lizard to boot. No wonder he didn't want his wife to hear the name Victoria Adamson.
What are you doing with that, Jack?
With what?
What, you think I wouldn't notice you putting a piece on the suspect? You need a license for one of those.
And you think I don't have one?
So what are we going to do about Adamson? He's the guy.
We're not going to get anything else out of him for now.
Oh, look, Jack, I know you're some kind of big shot, but Adamson's our killer.
You want this case, I know it.
This case is open and shut, Jack.
Look, if you're that worried about Adamson, you stay here and stake out the place until you get news from the coroner.
What are you going to do?
I'm gonna go check on Luciano.
Yeah, that's right. Run on back to your master. Maybe he'll throw you a bone.
Ironically, he was right. Throwing me a bone is exactly what I was hoping Luciano would do. All I had to do now was wait. Wait for Luciano to slip up. He knew more about Victoria Adamson than he let on. That much was clear. But what? What did he...
Jack Humphries?
So much for being incognito.
Sorry, detective?
I'm not a detective.
Sorry, Jack?
Who are you?
My name's not important.
Well, maybe it is to me.
Are you here for Luciano? Fine. My name's Jessica Wood. You're here for Luciano, right?
Why are you so interested in Mr. Gambini?
I'm not.
You got a funny way of showing it.
Not interested in Lucy. Not in that way.
Who are you?
I'm Jessica
No,
Wood.
who are you? What do you do?
I used to be a dancer at Luciano's.
Well, there's a surprise.
I'm not an object detective.
And I'm not a detective, Miss Wood.
I can see that. If you were, you'd have caught him already.
What did you say?
Luciano.
And what exactly could I catch Mr. Gambini for? Being Electra's nightclub boss?
For adultery.
Oh, wake up, Miss Wood. Everyone in this place is having an affair with somebody. No man can stay faithful. It's in his nature. Look, Miss Wood, you clearly have something to tell me. So please, indulge me.
Luciano Gambini was having an affair with Victoria Adamson right up until she died.
If that's all you've got, miss, you might as well leave.
Don't talk down to me. Luciano was having an affair with Victoria Adamson, but she wasn't the first. Practically all the dancers have.
What, so he only hires tarts?
No. You try a job where your boss assaults you on a daily basis. A job where if you even think the word sexual harassment, you're out on the streets.
So get another job.
There are no other jobs, Jack. We'll barely scrape by on what they get as it is.
So why aren't you there now, Miss Wood? Sounds like you were one of his favourites.
Came too close to being caught. Mrs. Gambini grew suspicious of Lucy's activities. He wouldn't. As soon as she accused him, I was sacked.
She was telling the truth. There was something, look in her eyes. Whatever it was, she was troubled. And for whatever reason, she'd come to me.
Why are you telling me all this, Miss Wood?
Because you're good, Mr. Humphries. Luciano isn't, and I want to see him pay.
There's a blade to the back of the knife. Most likely a kitchen knife. Quick, impromptu, all the signs of a revenge case.
So you think it was the husband?
No, Jack, I know it's the husband. It's just a case of accounting for his movements that night. That or a confession.
What about Gambini?
Well, congratulations, Mr. Investigator. Looks like your master isn't the one we're after this time.
Luciano Gambini is not my master detective. And for your information, he had more than a good enough motive to murder Mrs. Adamson.
She was an employee.
Who was having an affair with him.
Which her husband found out about. And more than likely, he's her killer.
He was filing for divorce.
So why would Gambini kill her?
Because Mrs. Gambini was about to discover the affair.
Well, surely you're investigating the wrong Gambini, Jack. Seems to me like the wife would be the one to take revenge on her husband's mistress. Look, we've got more on Adamson than anyone else. He's got the motive, and he's got no one to account for his movements that night. Adamson's the killer.
There he is.
There's blood on that bag. Let's see it.
What did I say? He's our guy. I'm taking him in.
Wait! Adamson! You're under arrest!
Shit! No, it's not what you think. Shit!
Get it! Stop running, Adamson! Shoot him, Jack! No! He's trying to get away! Stop, Adamson!
Good job, Jack. Looks like you solved another case.
Who knows? Maybe this will be bigger than the butterfly case. Maybe one day you'll get a badge.
Pull him up.
Jack, you'll never guess what this shit's got in here. Kitchen knives. A whole pile of kitchen knives covered in blood. You're more guilty than if we found you at the scene of the murder.
No! I told you I'd never hurt her. It's not what it looks like.
So why did you run from us when we saw you with the bag?
Because I knew you'd never believe me.
It's over, Adamson. I'm taking you in.
What happened to your arms, Hugh?
Probably from the fall we took from you, Jack.
Hugh, what happened to your arms?
So taking him in.
Just get him cleaned up first.
Just get cleaned up in his cell, Jack. That's it. It's over.
The evidence was there. Adamson was in the frame. But something was too convenient. Something was too easy for us to find the killer so soon. Adamson was a mess, but he was no killer.
You can go home now, Jack. Let the real officers take it from here.
Really? When you see one, be sure to let me know.
Case is closed, Jack. Move on.
What about Gambini?
What about?
I've got an interview.
Like son. So now you tell me. Now that Adamson's behind bars, you go and do that.
It's not a formal interview. And I'm not wearing a wire. It's a poker game.
A poker game? Well, you have fun gambling with your friends, Jack. I'll go get on some real police work.
That's what I was implying, Pete. You question Adamson. I'll get to work on Gambini.
Wonderful, Jack.
Gambini had invited me to play a game of poker at the abandoned industrial plant. I knew the man. He said he had information on Miss Adamson, but if I wanted it, I'd have to earn it. Jessica Wood was right. Luciano was a player. I'm sure he'd have some kind of trick up his sleeve. Beating him would be no easy task, because in a game like this, the house always wins.
Ah. Mr. Investigator, we've just been talking about you.
Then it must have been a short conversation.
Lucy, you brought your pet?
That's the one.
I don't feel comfortable playing with a badge.
If he's a badge, then his friends will know we're here.
Right, that's it. I'm out.
Relax, gentlemen. My investigator is no pig.
Well, if you're sure, Lucy, let's play.
Ooh. Someone's eager to get started.
That looks like the investigator isn't the one we should be concerned about.
I'm not sure I like your tone.
Or maybe I should speak louder so your wife can hear me better.
Enough! Ladies, let's play some poker.
Gambini's friends were to be expected, some particularly seedy and morally grey types, so paranoid they'd trample over anyone to avoid getting caught.
Ah, you seem quiet tonight, Jack. Something up?
I'm just trying to play some cards here, Lucy.
Jack.
I see you've cottoned on to my nickname. Perhaps a beverage or Lucy or something. Joseph!
Ah, I see you got your servant, Lucy.
Anyone surprised up your sleeve, Gambini?
You know I like to keep you on your toes. Let's play.
You're Jack Humphries.
What?
I know this man.
I recognised his face, back from the crime scene.
He's a detective. He busted the butterfly case.
We can't trust him.
I'm no detective.
We can't trust him. I'm out.
Joseph, clean that up. Gentlemen, I suggest we will take a break and calm down. Jack, come with me. So you're enjoying the game, Mr. Investigator?
I didn't come here to socialise.
Well, no wonder you're so quiet.
I came here for that information you promised me.
Ah, you have to earn it.
And who's to say I haven't?
The game's not over yet, Jack.
It is for you, Gambini. I know all about your history with your dancers.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You've been having affairs with your dancers for years. Victoria Adamson was one of a long line who sleep with you for a bonus.
Oh, and I suppose you think Miss Adamson was so innocent in all of this. It will come as a shock to you to realise that she was blackmailing me about our affair.
Giving you a perfect motive for murder.
The amount she wanted to stop going to the police. I'd have to sell the club. I couldn't afford to pay it, so you see why I'm relieved that she's dead.
So you wouldn't have to murder her yourself?
So I wouldn't have to pay up!
But surely this was always a risk every time you had an affair. Why keep sleeping with your dancers? Victoria Adamson, Jessica Wood? You have a wife. Isn't that enough?
I'm only a man.
Gambini was not one to get his hands dirty. Besides adultery, there was nothing that could be pinned on him. If he was behind the murder, he would not carry it out himself. Hugh Adamson was still in the frame, but something didn't add up. Something I hoped Miss Wood would know. It was a decent house for someone who claimed not to have a job.
Jack.
I've spoken to Gambini.
And?
Can I come in?
She was distant. The first time I'd seen her like this. But why?
Drink?
Sure.
What do you want from me, Jack?
Information?
That's a first.
Were you jealous of Victoria before she was killed?
Murdered.
Were you? She was following in your footsteps after all.
You honestly think I was jealous? I only slept with Lucy for the money. You of all people should know that.
Did it make you feel old? Having him cast you aside for a younger model?
You're calling me old now.
Answer the question.
Don't give me orders, you're not a detective, remember that.
Just answer the question.
I felt sorry for her, alright? I felt sorry that someone was going to make the same mistakes I did. Does that answer your question?
Did you know the husband? Hugh Adamson? Do you think maybe he could have been jealous
The affair?
of Gambini?
Well, it's possible. But he was far too in love with her to ever hurt her. He'd sooner hurt himself.
What was that?
He'd sooner hurt himself.
Suddenly, it all fitted.
I have to go.
Let me know when you go after Lucy. I'll be watching him.
I'll see you later, Miss Wood.
Jessica.
It all made sense now. Hugh Adamson was no killer. That collection of knives he disposed of was to protect himself, yes, but he was not disposing of evidence from a murder. His crime was far less severe than that.
Back.
I need to see Adamson.
You're giving me orders now?
Just take me to him.
This case is meant to be open and shut.
Show me your arms, Hugh.
What?
Your arms.
Why? There's nothing there.
Show your arms.
Don't waste your time, Jack. Just get on with it.
Hugh, please. I'm trying to do you a favour. Show me your arms.
So his arms are scratched. We've been over this from before.
Tell me, Hugh, why were you trying to get rid of those knives when we arrested you?
I've said I was just clearing out some old stuff.
Old stuff that was covered in blood.
To hide evidence, Jack. Seriously, why are you bothering with this?
It wasn't the fall that gave you those cuts, was it, Hugh? Hugh, was it the fall?
No.
It was your blood we found in those knives, wasn't it? You were self-harming, weren't you?
All right! Couldn't handle it. Vicky was my life. I knew we had to get a divorce. I thought she wanted independence. I never thought anyone would...
You're right, Adamson. You couldn't handle that she was having an affair. You couldn't handle she'd gone off with another man. You were so upset that you followed her home from work and you killed her with a kitchen knife. Full of regret, you then went home and harmed yourself with some other knives before disposing of the evidence, severing any link between you and the murder. But we caught you, Hugh. It wasn't just your blood we found on the knives, was it?
What? What are you talking about?
Forensics came in this afternoon. One of the knives had Vicky's blood all over it.
But I didn't. I swear I didn't.
Like I said, Jack, this case is open and shut.
Yeah. Not quite. Did you know that Victoria was blackmailing somebody up until she died?
No, Vicky wouldn't do that.
She didn't just sleep with Gambini, Hugh. She had threatened to tell his wife all about the affair unless he paid. After paying for sex, keeping his wife happy, and his poker games, Gambini had no way of paying any sort of bribe. What more reason could he have for murdering Victoria Adamson?
He did it.
I'm going after him.
Look, I hate to burst your bubble here, but this is all theory. There is no evidence that Luciano Gambini was anywhere near the scene where Victoria Adamson was murdered.
He had a motive. That's more than enough to at least take him in for questioning.
This is not worth pursuing, Jack. Don't waste your time. Just because you've been hung up on some tart who's probably out for revenge herself. We know, Jack. We know all about her. So forget all about her and use your head. We have our murderer right here.
We both know Hugh isn't the murderer here, Peter. Let him go.
Until we prove otherwise, Jack.
I'm going, Pete.
Fine. Just remember, Jack, you'll regret this.
I was in no uniform. I couldn't do anything to stop Luciano, other than a citizen's arrest. That was something at least. Either way, he needed to pay for his crimes. Miss Wood said she would be watching him. I presumed that meant she was outside the club. But she wasn't.
Oh, it's you. I was expecting somebody else. Let me get us a drink.
Where'd that come from?
Downstairs, in the Lucy's office. Please, detective.
I was wrong. Luciano may have been a crook, but he was no murderer. Now he was lying dead in his office, gunshot wound to the head. I was wrong. So very wrong.
Mrs. Gambini, do you mind if I ask you a few questions?
Questions? What's to ask? My husband is lying downstairs dead. It doesn't take a detective to work that out.
Well, it's a good job I'm not there.
You're not? Then why are you just standing here? Call the police!
I'm sure they're already on their way. But, Mrs. Gambini, did you see anyone go up or down those stairs before you heard the gunshot?
I don't know.
What's going on here, Jack?
It's Gambini. He's dead.
What? I thought you were going to apprehend him, not murder him.
You killed Lucy?
No! Look, I was waiting outside when I heard the gunshot.
Waiting for what? Daylight?
Mrs. Gambini, think back. Think back to the time of the shooting. Was there anyone who should have been here that wasn't?
I don't know. It must have been them. I've seen them with him after hours. He thinks I don't know. He thinks I'm that stupid. He thinks he can do whatever he wants and I won't care. I loved him once. It wasn't enough. It just wasn't enough. He always wanted more. Now look at him. Do what you want with him. You can have him.
I should take her for questioning.
Peter, her husband has just been murdered.
Probably by her own hand. Come on, Jack, you've heard her. Jealousy is one of the most common motives for a murder.
So you don't see any connection between this and the Adamson case?
Solve the Adamson case.
Fine. You go away and look up another innocent person detective. As long as you have somebody to pin it on, you don't care who takes the rap.
I'm just doing my job, investigator. You should try it sometime.
There was no sense in arguing with him. The killer was on the loose, and the detective was too stubborn to see it.
Fine. I'll leave you to do your job, detective.
Jack, where are you going?
It didn't make any sense. There's Victoria Adamson, and now Luciano Gambini. Both dead, both connected. Hugh Adamson fitted the frame for the murder of his wife, but there was no way he could have murdered Gambini as well. There was one person who linked both victims. One person who should have been at Luciano's but wasn't. I didn't want to admit it, but it couldn't have been anyone else. She had a motive. Gambini raped her, fired her, made her life hell. She knew Victoria, where she lived, what she was doing, what Gambini was doing to her. There was nobody else who could fit that frame. And she wasn't home. She was smart. She knew I'd come after her. By now, she could be anywhere. I needed to go. Somewhere to clear my head. Somewhere where things made sense. And there she was.
Why'd you do it? Why'd you kill Luciano?
Really? So you're not even going to ask if I did it, you're going to go straight in with the why.
Answer me!
Ask me the right question and maybe I will.
Why? Tell me why!
Ask me.
I know you did it!
How?
You weren't where you were supposed to be!
You're not in control, Jack. You don't get to dictate where I'm supposed to be.
Then where were you?
I don't have to disclose that kind of information.
Tell me! Please, just tell me.
All right. I don't want Lucy dead. Who wouldn't? But I'm not a murderer. I calmed down and decided not to go there. If anything, I would have murdered him the other day if he hadn't got there first. Oh, I know all about you, Jack Humphries, the PI who solved the butterfly case. I would have never murdered him with you around.
So where were you?
I stayed.
No, you didn't! I went by your house. My car is still there. You have nobody to account for your movements.
Do you, Jack? Is there anybody who can account for where you've been tonight? You're here. Nobody can say how you got here, where you went on the way, nothing. Yet you know you didn't kill Lucy, same as I know that I didn't. Is that evidence enough for you?
I'd failed. I failed to solve the case, and now another victim lay dead. I had no more leads, nowhere to go. It was like history was repeating itself.
I'm finished.
What?
I failed. Again.
Again?
Never mind.
What happened, Jack? What happened on the butterfly case?
I put away the wrong man and a woman was killed. And now the same thing's happened again. You're right. You're no murderer. I don't know why I came here.
Jack, where are you going?
I gotta go clear my head.
I had nowhere left to turn. She wasn't a murderer, and yet she said she would have been had it not been for me. In exchange for that, I couldn't help Adamson or Gambini. All that I had left now was to crawl down a bottle and forget the world I lived in. A world where a dancer and a club owner are murdered, and no one bats an eyelid. Cold-blooded murder. I had no leads, nothing to point me towards.
That's all I got.
What about 2 days ago, when the murder took place?
Sorry, that's all I have.
You're lying.
What?
Do you think I'm an idiot?
No, of course not, detective.
I'm not a detective.
My mistake. Then what are you?
There is film missing. Where is it?
Must be a glitch or something. It's sometimes...
Don't lie to me!
Alright, that's allowed.
Tell me the truth!
Okay, just... don't draw any attention to us.
The truth. At long last, the killer was going to come to light. If I only had noticed it sooner. If only somebody had seen the camera sooner.
Stop it there!
I knew that face, but couldn't believe it.
Why did you try to hide this from me? Who put you up to it?
Nobody. I swear. Look, I just... Look, if my boss finds out, I'm going to get the sack for sure. Okay, please, you can't do this to me. You please don't report me. I've got a wife, I've got a family. She's pregnant. It's going to be...
Spare me! I've got more important things to do than locking you away. I've got a murderer to catch.
The cleaner. It seemed almost cliched. I was going to warn Jessica about it, but she still wasn't home. All I had to do now was arrest Joseph, and there was only one place I knew of that I could find him.
Where's Joseph? The cleaner, where is he?
Here.
When?
About half an hour ago. Why?
Where did he go?
I don't know.
Adamson was under arrest for a murder he didn't commit. The evidence. If Victoria's blood was on one of those knives, that only meant one thing. This was it. Joseph was here. I knew it. And he probably knew that I was coming after him. Joseph had clearly been stalking Victoria. It was an obsession. I knew he killed her. All that was left was to find out why. It was time to end things, once and for all.
Come out, Joseph. I know you're here.
I think you should come to me, Detective.
Let her go.
You went for the wrong door, Jack.
Just like you went after the wrong suspect. And it's not for the first time, is it?
Let her go.
Who? Oh, this. Well, I figured it was only fitting, since I lost the one I loved, that you should know that same pleasure. The pleasure of watching the one you love die.
Don't listen to him, Jack. Just get him.
Wait, so you don't love the investigator?
Just shoot him, Jack.
You're not the one with the gun here, Miss Wood. You don't give the orders.
But I do. Let her go.
I don't think so, Jack. If I let her go, what reason do you have not to kill me?
I'm gonna place you under arrest, not murder you.
Just like you didn't murder the culprit of the butterfly case.
No, Jack. You wouldn't.
Oh, you'd be surprised, Miss Wood. You'd be surprised at what Jack really can do. After all, why do you think the investigator is not a detective?
Because
you've got a criminal record yourself, Jack! The police only keep using you because you can do the things they never can. Because you murdered a guilty man. Which is why I'm not letting go of my insurance. You have a choice, Jack. Shoot me and watch the woman you love die, or just leave. Just forget it. Piss off. You can't win.
you're wrong. If you were in such a good position, I'd be dead already.
Well, what's stopping me shooting you right now?
Because you know I'd shoot you first.
Oh, I'm not a hit, dear Jessie.
Just shoot him, Jack. Forget everything else and just shoot him.
Oh, I think she clearly underestimates how you feel, Jack. She doesn't know how much it hurts to love someone so much and then not love you in return. She doesn't know how it feels to take a job just to be with them. The sacrifice you make just to be close to them. Tell me, Jack, who was it who hired you to investigate this case?
Jack, who was it?
No one.
Yes. No one. So why did you investigate a murder that you weren't asked to, Jack? Was it guilty conscience? Sense of moral justice?
Just tell me why.
Why? Why? Oh, why I killed Victoria and your friend Luciano?
It wasn't my friend.
Interesting. I think Luciano considered most people to be his friends. Then again, I never really was one of them. I wanted to work at Luciano's as much of a dive as it was. Did you know I applied 3 times to be a bartender? But he turned me down each and every time. He said I wasn't good enough. He said people don't go to clubs to look at ugly mugs like me. So I became a cleaner. He's treated me like shit ever since.
You must have been desperate to get a job in that place.
What, because there are no jobs, Jessica? But you're right, I was desperate. For years I've been following Victoria. Watched as she went home to her husband. Watched as she went to work. She danced for her boss. She entertained that pervert. I watched her leave and forsake her wedding vows. For years I tried to get her attention, tried to show her the love I felt for her, but she cast me aside. So 2 days ago I'd had enough. If I couldn't have her, I would make sure nobody else could. You know, I loved her so much, and she treated me like an animal, like a slave. It broke my heart killing her. But then I realised that for my revenge to be complete, I would have to kill her lovers too. The men she deemed worthy of having her. Men that she would give all of herself to, but would hide away from me. So first, I was going to kill her husband. With the same knife that I'd used to kill her as some poetic justice, you know. But you got there first, Jack, and actually you provided me with a perfect suspect to pin the murder on. In nearly all domestic cases, it's the husband. Isn't that right, Jack? And that only left one more target. Cannot deny the great satisfaction from getting even with him. The man who treated me like that. And Victoria would rather have given herself to that creep than me. A man who would put himself in anything other than his wife. So it seemed only fitting to put something in him for a change. My only regret is that I hadn't done it sooner. And actually, that's when you really surprised me, Jack. You were in the right place at the right time, yet you started well as well. Obviously not as great as your legend foretells, Jackie boy. You need to welcome that.
And yet here I am, yes.
Here you are. Ready to watch the one you love die at your own hands, just as I watched the one I love die at mine.
Jack, it doesn't matter what he says, just shoot him.
Jessica, I can't.
Just do it.
Tick-tock, time's running down, Jack.
I'm not a killer.
I beg to differ, Jack.
I'm not going to shoot you. You're going to let her go.
Only if you drop your gun.
Jack, don't.
Can't be too careful, you know.
Only if he drops his first.
Fine. As you wish. Now you.
Jack, now!
I'm not a killer.
killer.
Then we have a deal.
No. You said you'd let her go.
Then let her, Jack.
No.
Please, leave now.
Tick-tock this word gone. We don't need you running to the count.
Jess, please. I'll be alright.
No.
Trust me.
We're the same, really, Jack. And you shall never love you. Oh, the fitting, really. It's fine to understand it. Now, happy end.
Not so fast, Miss Wood. You couldn't leave well enough alone, could you, Jack? I told you that you'd regret this, but now I have no choice. You don't think I'd allow you to murder the Chief Inspector's brother, do you? Even a PI as famous as Jack Humphries can't do that. Hands are tied, Jack. No hard feelings. Now get out of here. We can't have another incident like this. You understand?
Of course. You can't be cleaning up my mess anymore, right, Detective?
Right. Come on. Somebody's sure to have heard that shot.
What makes you think I won't tell anyone about this?
You won't, Miss Wood. Because if you do, you'll end up just like Jack. As it is, Hugh Adamson will be in prison for the murder of his wife, and you will be framed for the murder of Luciano Gambini. The judge will see that you, full of wrath for being sacked, went into his office and murdered him. And that will tie up all the loose ends.
Now you see why I don't trust cops.
Now come with me.
No.
Jessica, please.
Come on.
I had made many mistakes in my life. I was a killer. I may not have killed Luciano, but I failed to catch Joseph before he did. Jessica was alive, but I failed to protect her. I caught the killer, but I had to let him go. I didn't trust cops, but I trusted Thomson. My life was a contradiction. I may have been a killer, but now I have been killed. Even if an ambulance got to me in time, my life, what life?